Coming up on Hoge Jahns, we are live on a Victory Tuesday, a huge win for the Chicago Bears in Washington last night. Adam Johns is still there. We're going to break it all down. CHGO Hoge Jahns starts right now. What's up? Welcome in. Good morning on a live edition of Hoge Jahns on a Victory Tuesday. What a win it was, Johnsy. Still in his hotel room.
Yep.
I don't know. Where are you? Are you in D.C.? Are you in Maryland?
I am in lovely Crystal City. Is it Virginia? Maybe. You know where all the hotels are at by Reagan Airport.
Yeah, I've stayed there before. I don't know. When you're in D.C., you don't know if you're in Virginia or Maryland or the District of Columbia. It's all very confusing.
Very true.
Yeah. And hopefully when they build that new stadium on the site of the old RFK Stadium, it'll be more convenient and a whole better situation for you. I'm sorry, this is not one of those trips I miss. There's definitely trips I miss. This is not one of them.
You're telling me you don't miss getting in the car with Kevin Fishbane at 2 a.m, leaving Northwest Stadium, and you're talking and he misses your exit maybe twice, and your trip that was 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes back to the hotel now becomes about 40 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds classic Fishbane right there.
Yeah, I mean, talking, sharing fun facts.
Yeah, first of all, he planned his entire weekend wrong. He easily could have gone to Happy Valley and seen his Cats beat Penn State on his way to D.C., but he's not a real fan, so we make these mistakes in life. All right. Welcome in. We're excited to be here. Quick night, early morning. Already have rewatched the game this morning and gotten back down to our CHGO studios for this one. And we got you. This is just kicking off a long day of coverage for us here on CHGO, of course. Got you covered in the morning with Hoge Jahns. We'll be back at 1 o'clock for CHGO Bears. Lance Briggs will join us on that show. And then tonight, it's Bears After Dark. Greg Braggs has you covered there with his crew. So a good Tuesday to break everything down. Johns, we'll just start before we get into our likes and dislikes, just overall takeaways. I'll let you kick it off.
I think it's still the lingering thought of, like, how did the Bears pull this one off? Because we're so used to seeing and feeling the opposite. Like, I'm getting text messages during the game from friends who are expecting the worst because we are conditioned to expect the worst in such situations. I think the game was playing out that way a little bit into the fourth quarter, but then you get that fumble by Jaden Daniels in all moments. And like, looking back at that, I think the Bears are still stopping that play on third down, but to have that takeaway, another one by the Bears defense in that moment, and then to do everything they did after that, like, the Bears had that fortunate break, but how often have we seen them just go like 3 and out after that? Like, completely botch the miracle that they're given. That didn't happen last night. They ran the ball straight down the Commanders' throats all the way to time expiring, and Jake Moody takes on the field. Like, that in itself feels so notable. Such a break from the past, from what we've covered, from what everyone has seen before. Maybe it's Ben Johnson's magic, and maybe something's working in this locker room, but it's definitely different than what we've ever seen before.
Right, and I think too, and I'll be honest, I think I fell into that trap a little bit last night too, just watching it, just sort of, waiting for the wrong thing to happen instead of the right thing to happen.
Yes.
And I think that anybody else who felt that way, it's completely understandable considering what this team has put you through over the last, 15 years, really, but especially going back to last year, where every single game they found a way to lose it on that 10-game losing streak. And this time, these last 2 weeks, it's been different. They have found a way to come up with the big play when they needed it. In all three phases. And this was the same thing that happened in Las Vegas. And I think what's really good is it's been different types of plays. This time it was, okay, defense comes up with a takeaway. Offense is running the ball at will, essentially, to not only leave you hanging on a field goal that makes you super nervous. Now, I'll admit I was still nervous because I wasn't really.
Yes.
I wasn't totally in love. You
almost expected him to miss it.
I didn't love the trajectory of some of the kicks, even the ones that went in that game, John. So I still wasn't feeling like 100%. But my point is that they still got the big run from DeAndre Swift to make it a comfortable field goal and not just one like the Raiders had against the Bears a week ago, where you're like, okay, something could happen here. They could block it. But whether it was, the last game against the Raiders, not as a good team, they still did the same thing. Defense, offense, and then special teams with the big block at the end. Same thing. Defense comes up with a takeaway last night. Offense runs the ball down there. And then your kicker, who basically got called in at the last second because something happened with Cairo Santos, he has suffered a setback over the weekend. Jake Moody's out there and he kicks it. And he makes it. So it has a different feeling. And I think it's important to point out, I've definitely been on the side of the Commanders where I'm like, I think they're a little overrated. I've been saying that since the start of the season. But that being said, they're still a good opponent. That's a good road win without a doubt. Whereas against the Raiders, you're going, okay, the Bears didn't play great. Not the best opponent of all time. They managed to pull it out. This is different. This is on Monday Night Football against a team that went to the NFC Championship game last year, has a really good quarterback in Jaden Daniels. And despite things not going your way, and at times feeling like everything was going against you, you still managed to pull out that win. And I do think that is a reflection of a team that's headed in a different direction with the coaching staff, the buy-in, and the culture overall.
I don't think you could overrate the night that Jake Moody had. This is a player who was cast off by by Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, a third-round pick who was dismissed by them after going one for 3 on his field goals in week 1. After, let's be honest, a pretty terrible first 2 seasons with the franchise that drafted him. Cast off, hopefully forgotten about. He comes to the Bears, joins the practice squad, kind of a notable little story at Hallis Hall for a little bit. But on this night, of all places, where there is baggage that dates back to last year because of the Hail Mary, and there's baggage that he has, dating back to his release from the 49ers, to deal with the weather. Guys, this was not some ideal, beautiful, serene night, in Landover, Maryland. The rain kept coming. It was sideways. It was misty. It was soggy. The ball was slick. The wind was hard to predict. He said himself, if he was kicking the opposite direction, he would have adjusted, or he would have told Richard Hightower where he wanted to go with the ball a little bit differently, like where he wanted the ball aligned, but they were going the opposite way. That's how much the wind was a factor. So to see him have the type of night that he had, field goals of 40-plus yards, to bounce back immediately after one was blocked to open the fourth quarter, he had a hell of a day, hell of a night. Quite the redemption story for Jake Moody.
All right, I am going to quibble a little bit. I think you can overrate it a little bit. He did have one blocked. He kicked that one so low you could have blocked it.
That's fine.
And because I'm the only one in the world, maybe me and Pat Manley, again, paying attention to this stuff, he had 2 kickoffs that were kicked in the end zone for touchbacks when they weren't supposed to be. Let's not pretend like this was some perfect game. It's a cool story. Jake Moody.
Oh, come on. You can't throw cold water on this, dude.
I'm throwing cold water on the kickoffs. And I'll kick off our likes and dislikes right now. The kickoffs in general, you put 2 in the end zone, can't happen. And then the kickoff coverage on top of that wasn't great last night, too. And that didn't help you. Let's not pretend like everything was perfect last night, even with Jake Moody. It's a great story. He made the kick, but it was not perfect by any means.
I'm disappointed in you. I won't lie. I'm a bit disappointed. I think you're overanalyzing that a little bit.
I'm not overanalyzing.
I'm thinking of
basically hit the defensive line in the face.
Of this story, the human quality of this story.
Okay, fine.
Everything's
great. Nothing's wrong.
Then he should have missed that kick at the end. And he didn't.
No, it was
The Bears
clutch.
got him in that position. This is a player who was cast off by the San Francisco 49ers of all teams, and he delivered for the Bears. He did, and in a very difficult circumstance. He didn't know he was kicking to the night before the game.
He's
He
a
changed his
third-round pick who
cleats.
kicked. This guy kicked in a Super Bowl. Let's not. Okay, you want to know what was a crazy
Oh
kicker
man,
story?
I can't believe. Hey, put this in the comments, everybody. I can't believe he's putting cold water on this story.
The Packers signed a kicker like out of a grocery store on Saturday morning, and he came in and was perfect on Sunday. Okay, like this. I'm just saying. The only thing I'm quibbling with is you saying that we can't overrate it. It's it's slightly overrated. That's all I'm saying. That's all. This is not Theo Bennett. You have a great story of this guy coming from Canada, undrafted. Little bit different than a third-round kicker out of Michigan. Okay, that's not quite the same redemption story. I am giving him all the credit in the world for making the kicks.
I don't think you are. I don't think
when he needed to. Let's keep the ball out of the end zone in the kickoffs, though, please. That's all I'm saying. This is a special teams coach in me. The aggravation coming out a little bit, and because that was. Thank you. Someone just said in the comments the kickoffs are driving them crazy. I'm not the only one.
It was a windy night. You should have been here, I guess.
I will say the wind. He
got the game ball from Ben Johnson, for Pete's sake.
Yeah. Okay. This is a good game. It was a worthy game ball. He should get the game ball.
There you go.
I'm not saying he shouldn't get the game ball. I'm just okay. Yeah. Well, those are kind of our initial takeaways in the initial breakdown. Should we get into our likes and dislikes here?
Sure.
Which as always are brought to you by RC Cola. RC Cola is not a soft drink. It's just damn good cola. The Bears were damn good to pull out the win last night, just like RC. I had an enjoyable RC Cola during the game last night as well. So I already knocked out one of my dislikes. So that's good because we don't want to be too negative. But that I did, Johns, I have it right here highlighted in yellow. The kickoffs were too deep. It's my second note. Maybe that's a little overrated. Maybe that shouldn't be my second note. I will admit that. I will start with this though, Johns, in terms of my likes. I love the bye week adjustments. This is a sign of a good coaching staff. Okay, it goes way beyond the obvious things, but you got to, as a coaching staff, you got to know when to push the right buttons. It was time for a left tackle change. This is not we're talking about a situation where you're benching one of the GM's better draft picks in Braxton Jones, considering he was a 5th round pick. You have other options like Ozzie Trapillo on the bench. He's a 2nd round pick. That instead you're going for the undrafted guy who this coaching staff, Ben Johnson and Dan Rochar, have clearly come to enjoy coaching. Feels like he's been putting in the work and going with Theo Bennett, and it paid off. A huge change at the bye week, which, by the way, the first time the head coach alluded to something like this potentially happening was back in August in the middle of the training camp. There's no state secrets here. He's telling you in August, yeah, we might have to make a change at the bye week. Guess what? They made a change at the bye week. Paid off big. I thought Theo Bennett was excellent. And to the point that I don't think it's off the table that the Bears found their left tackle for a while here. I mean, I think when you look at what this guy can do in his kick sets and how quickly he gets back in his pass protection, granted, I get it. He's going to have tougher matchups. Micah Parsons is coming up twice this season. You got to deal with Jonathan Grenard again. There's plenty of good pass rushers, although Trey Hendrickson got hurt the other day, so maybe that's one off the board. We'll find out here in a few weeks against the Bengals. It's going to get tougher than it was last night, but for 2 games now, this guy's played right tackle, left tackle. He did face Max Crosby, wasn't perfect, but the Bears have managed to not only just survive, but last night, I thought it looked really good and really natural with Theo Bennett. So that is my first like to start with on what is actually, John's, a long list of adjustments I have to point out that I think went really, really well last night.
I like that he arrived at the stadium in a hockey jersey. Did you see that?
Yes, I really enjoyed that. Yes.
It's a great story, and it was the run game, like his success on runs in training camp that you can't always see. You need the film. You need to be behind the scenes to know what the responsibilities are, to know what's actually clicking and working. And I think you saw some of that on the field at Northwest Stadium last night. I think you saw that his ability to get to the second level, his ability to hold his own was a standout day from Theo Benedict. Well, he's part of the conversation right now. I really dislike covering football games when the refs become part of my story almost too much, because that's what was happening for a long time. That penalty on him, like how many times do you see some of the top left tackles in the league align that way? And it's never called. Never called. I know there's been a few of those penalties called this season. I get it. But in a moment like that, where your young receiver makes an outstanding catch in the end zone, this is a pivotal play in the game. Like, I dislike when the referees, for whatever reason, become part of the storyline too much. It distracts from everything else. And that's where this game was going until the final 3 minutes.
I would like to ask Theo at some point this week, and I don't know if it came up last night. I just missed it. If he was warned at any point in this game about lining up. If there was a warning, I still think it's a terrible call. I told myself I wasn't going to go off on the refs today, so I'm going to try not to, because I did this last night. But I'm not going to go off. I'm just going to go back to a point I harp on all the time. And John, I'm sure you feel the same way. I think we've talked about this before, just from coaching and being around football at any level. Officiating isn't and never will be just black and white. There is some art to it. There is a feel to it. There is, I think, the best officials in football and in other sports too, but especially in football, have an awareness of the game and a feel for the game and an understanding that there are certain calls, and this is a league emphasis. We saw the left tackle on the Chiefs last year. He's lined up like a full yard back. He's getting back. He's kicked back and way too early. It's leading to the league being like, all right, we got to crack down on this a little bit. I get that. So if you're trying to make that point because your bosses at the league level are saying, hey, we got to watch this, you do that in the first quarter. You do that on first down. You don't nitpick. And I'm saying this, I'm going to say this in the context of, let's say Theo Benedict actually was, and you could see it on film very clearly, that he was too far back. You don't call that crap on third down in the red zone in such a pivotal moment of the game. Now, if you warned him earlier in the game and he was clearly too far back, fine. Even in that moment, if that's all the context, fine. But we don't know that there was a warning. And I do know that from watching the film and watching what they put on TV right afterwards, it sure as hell wasn't obvious. It was at best nitpicking. And I think it was just a bad call. So to put that all in the context, you didn't have a feel for the moment as an official. You just lost the plot completely in a game where you're already throwing way too many flags and you're nitpicking on illegal contact. And that was on both sides. Washington got called for one of those two. The OPI call on Colson Loveland was like, what are we doing here? Stay the hell out of the game. These guys are working too hard. They're fighting too hard. They're playing too hard to have you call crap like that. And I'll even give you, I don't like the rules, but I will even give you the roughing the passer calls. Okay, Montez Sweat hit the guy in the head. Can't do that anymore. I don't like it, but that's very clearly called consistently now in the league, so I can live with it. Brisker, it was Brisker, right, who went low?
Brisker, yeah.
And he may have gotten shoved a little bit, but I'll even give the official benefit of doubt that would be incredibly hard to see that the left tackle actually kind of pushed him a little bit. I tend to agree with the broadcasters that were like, hey, you just came in low. You can't do that. Okay, fine. I'm not even talking about those two calls. I'm talking about these nitpicky calls, and that Theo Benedict one was ridiculous in the context of the moment of a huge third down in the red zone. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Stay out of the game.
So it's good that all the well, you follow the officiating a lot closer than I do. And I know this crew is known for throwing the flags a lot more so than any other crew, correct?
Yes, by far. Brad Biggs had those numbers earlier in the week. On top of it, earlier in the week, it was like 17 more penalties than the next highest group.
Yeah, I mean, 17?
I think that's what he had. I don't have it in front of me right now. I think it was like 12 that were sustained, and then there's like 5 more that were declined. I know.
This is not something you want to lead the league in.
No.
It's really not. It's not the reputation you want. I don't know how you rid yourselves of the habit of throwing the flags in every little thing you see, or overblowing certain situations, or every little piece of contact you see. But yeah, not good. So I'm thankful in a sense that we're able to talk about it now, maybe post-win, where yet other things happen, yet other things transpire where they're still part of the story, not a major part of it.
Well, and I will say too that, that was a huge call. Bears going up 20-10 with plenty of momentum, and instead settle for a field goal, and then they're, let's see that made it 16, and then they give up the touchdown. After that, all of a sudden they're losing. Then they go down by 8. Like that call was extremely critical. So yes, to your point, to battle back from it, there is some sort of like justification for the ball bouncing the Bears' way at the end, with Jaden Daniels losing it on the snap. It's like there's some, the ball don't lie theory type of thing going on there, because that call was just egregious. And yeah, whatever. We don't have to keep going on it. A couple other adjustments I liked, John. So I'll go to the defense. Keeping Tremaine Edmonds at the will and putting Edwards, TJ Edwards at, did I say that right? Tremaine Edmonds at the will, TJ Edwards at the mic.
There you go.
I thought that this, first of all, I don't want to keep going back to the previous coaching staff, and this is a different defense, so maybe it wouldn't have been the same. But this has gotten to the point, seeing Tremaine Edmonds play the way he has at the weak side linebacker, like it's completely unlocked him, that it really makes me wonder if the previous coaching staff was just completely playing these guys out of position. Again, different defense, and they vision him being like that big Brian Urlacher type in the middle. But that's kind of an unfair expectation for Tremaine Edmonds. And really, regardless, we don't have to look too much in the past, but I was thinking about that this morning, to be honest with you. I'm
sure Dallas Cowboys fans and readers are potentially thinking the same thing that you are, Adam Hoge.
Well, we both like Jack Sanborn a lot, but they're playing Sanborn out of position right now too. They're trying to make him something that he's not. So I do think that brings up some fair questions about personnel usage. Regardless, this coaching staff, Dennis Allen, I love that they kept this the way it is with Edwards. And not only that, the foresight. And to point the thumb at myself, I questioned this in training camp. Why are they messing around with the linebackers so much? Why are they having TJ Edwards get reps at the mic? Well, this is why. And they're trying to figure it out on the fly. And here they might have found the solution to the run defense. Because, Johns, I thought the fits last night were so much better. I thought TJ Edwards was getting them lined up, and Edmonds was able to play freely. They were coming downhill constantly. I'm trying not to get too overblown with this morning, but this is actual evidence to me, if these guys can stay healthy, that the Bears' run defense, which has been so bad early in the season, going up against one of the best rushing teams that exists in the NFL this season, they didn't shut them down, but they slowed them down. They contained them without a doubt last night. There's room for this defense to continue to get better this season, and I don't know if I felt that way, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Well, the Commanders did finish with 124 rushing yards, but again, you have to go in the game a little bit. Those numbers are skewed by the scrambles of Jaden Daniels, who, man, is he strong. Man, is he elusive. And he is so fast and dangerous in the open field. I thought the Bears, believe it or not, did a pretty good job in chasing him down, though. I really did. I thought it could have been worse. I thought you could have had some longer runs. But overall, to your point, in terms of, stopping the run, did they stop Daniels completely? No, but he's going to do these things to teams. He just is, even against the best of defenses. to see them use their speed to hustle, just the hustle to chase him down. Like, I like seeing that from different players at different levels, like Dominique Robinson. Love the hustle from him on, chasing down Jaden Daniels in certain situations. So I like to give the Bears some credit for that.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, we'll get into a little bit more because that's also on my list of things that I don't know, maybe liked and disliked a little bit in this game, but we'll talk about it. We do have to take our first time out. We got plenty more likes and dislikes coming up. We also have your voicemails. Our producer, Katie Langen, did a great job turning these around overnight. She said they're hilarious. So we will get to those coming up. We do have to take a quick time out. Don't go anywhere. A lot more coming your way here. But first.
All right, Adam. Let's be real for a second. Come on, Adam. Let's go. The world's gone soft. Everybody gets a trophy. You get a trophy. I get a trophy. It's like Oprah.
You know what was soft last night? Those damn flags that were being thrown for, Colson Love when you touched that defensive back. That's soft.
It was a great acting job by the cornerback. I got to be honest. The little stumble. Whatever. Soda used to have some kick. Now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. It's the original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow up. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. So do yourself a favor. Grab some RC at your local store. Stock up on all your end of summer parties, back to school celebrations, or just watching the next Bears game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing.
Oh, last night I was enjoying the RC. It's a pizza here in the studio, Johns.
Oh, very
good. I came over from that great event we had last night. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, you got to go with the RC Cola with the pizza. It was fantastic. Hey, our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary are here to elevate your football season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup wherever you are in Illinois. Sunnyside has a location for you as far south as Champaign, as far north as South Beloit. You just have to visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Again, that's at sunnyside.shop. If you happen to be a returning customer, you can use CHGO 50. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Dispensary, bright buys every day only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. All right, keeping it rolling here on Hoge Jahns live edition. Appreciate you all watching here live. If you're listening to the podcast later, appreciate you as well. If you are here with us on YouTube, please hit that like button. We have found out through the statistics and the the research that way too many of you who are watching right now are not subscribed. We know that. So hit that subscribe button. Help us continue to grow this channel. We are here 3 days a week during the football season and will be the rest of the way until the season is over. Playoffs, maybe we're talking playoffs this year. Bears 3-2, winnable game coming up. So make sure you're subscribed. We'll be back to tomorrow, obviously, with our usual Wednesday episode. Get back on schedule on this short week, and then we are into it on Friday, previewing the game against the Saints, and we do that each and every week. So appreciate you being here. If you want to drop in a super chat, we will get to those at the end of the show. All super chats are also shown on the screen immediately. So thank you for those. Continuing our likes and dislikes, I think it's your turn, Johns, unless you want me to go with another one.
I like how DeAndre Swift ran the football. And I've been a critic of his. And I was critical of some of his runs yesterday where it still feels like he's that one missed tackle, that one broken tackle away from turning a 5-yard gain into a 15-yard gain, if not more. But he ran hard yesterday. He was part of the identity that the Bears wanted to have on the road. He only carried the ball 14 times. I felt like he carried it a lot more because he was that important to what the Bears are doing. 14 carries, 108 yards, 7.7 yards per carry. An outstanding night for a running back who was stuck in the mud a little bit through the first 4 games. Wasn't getting going. And a lot of the credit goes to the offensive line. But let's give Swift some credit too. There's a reason why he got a game ball from Ben Johnson as well.
Yeah, I thought he was very decisive in coming downhill. Just the intensity he ran with was better. But that being said, I also want to throw one of my likes at the offensive line. I mentioned Theo Benedict, but really across the board, it was obvious to me, Johns, that this coaching staff and this O-line went to work. When we've heard Ben Johnson say multiple times in press conferences, that sometimes it takes a while to get on the same page in the run game. I think what you saw last night work is exactly what they've been talking about. And that is, when it comes to blocking up front, so much of it is timing on those combo blocks. When you're supposed to get from the lineman to the linebacker and know the right time on when to get to the second level. If that timing is off with everything that's happening behind you, quarterback under center, turning around, getting it to the running back who's going to probably hesitate for a second just to pick the right lane and set it all up. If you don't time that up perfectly, something that could be a 12-yard run could be a 2-yard run or 3-yard run, or maybe even a loss. I thought last night, though, the offensive linemen were climbing the second level. You felt a rhythm in the run game. Everything, the communication, they just seem to be in rhythm. And I do think, I thought two big parts of it. I do think Theo Benedict had a big reason for that, because I've watched a lot of film from earlier in the season where I just didn't feel like Braxton Jones was always on the same page, and in concert with the rest of the guys. I don't want to put all on him, but I do think that helped last night, having Theo out there. And then second, we got to give our props to Darnell Wright, who's playing with a big brace on his elbow. I don't know what's going on. Let's just call it. He probably has something torn in there. I'm assuming that he's just going to have to deal with. But he's doing it, and he looked great last night. And one of the last runs of the game, I think it might have been the 15-yard. Yeah, the big run at the end to set up the field goal.
You got two guys.
He not only did he get two guys, but he also, in a split second, Johns realized that all he had to do on that first guy was stiff arm him a little bit. And that would be enough. I just got to get this guy a little bit off balance. Now I can go get the next block downfield, because that's how you spring the big runs. That's how you do exactly what I was just talking about. Turn the 2-3-yard run into 12-15. Huge play. Darnell Wright was awesome last night, and he deserves his praise.
Did you hear Caleb Williams' explanation of the DeAndre Swift 55-yard catch and run touchdown?
I have not heard that yet, no.
Okay, so this is going to be an interesting part of this conversation. I like that the Bears had success on that play, even though Caleb Williams called the play wrong. So this is Caleb Williams. This is quote, I messed up the play call. So great job to the guys getting lined up in that situation and us being able to get something off, and great job to Swift. Ran a great route. He got his eyes around and had a lot of space. I wanted to get him the ball early so he could go make a play in space, which he does best. So he made a great play and went 55 yards for us. He was then asked, what was the play called? I can't tell you that. When was the play fixed, Caleb? We ended up fixing it when the ball got snapped. I don't like that he got the play call wrong, but I like that the Bears seemed to recover from it within the moment. Not just Caleb, but everybody else on the field.
So that's interesting. Watching live, I will say, I turned to the guys in our studio at one point, because we don't know these things, especially in the game. Sometimes you find it out later in the week or whatever. But there were many times last year where you find out later in the week, like, this check was made wrong, or this guy got put in motion at the, wasn't the right guy, or went the wrong direction, or like whatever it was. There were a lot of the pre-snap things that's well documented at this point. It was all talked about in the offseason. And I thought, and I think Ben Johnson has said this, that Caleb's been way better with that stuff, probably since week one, when some of that stuff happened. Last night watching that game, it felt like, to me, like the snap right at the end of the third quarter, that felt like it never should have been snapped. Again, I don't know this at this point. I hope to get the answer at some point during the week. It felt like a cadence issue. It felt like something just wasn't right in terms of the communication there. I think we'll find out that there was maybe a handful of those instances last night. But to spin it into a positive, it still makes me feel very optimistic. And if you watch Ben Johnson's speech in the locker room, he even alluded to this. Great win, gritty, all three phases, all this great stuff. Now imagine what it'll look like when we eliminate these penalties, when we fix some of this little stuff. And I feel the same way about Caleb Williams. Get on the train now, because that's the stuff that that will be fixed, that he's already showing signs of. And maybe in a tough road environment with rough weather, homecoming, all these different variables, there were some mistakes that were made last night. But that's a perfect example, Johns, of making the correction on the fly and getting a 55-yard touchdown out of it. Now, you're not going to get that every time. And I thought Swift made a great play on the sideline to stay in bounds and elude that tackle. That was an incredible play by him. But I still think that that's one of those negatives that you can easily spin into a positive and say, hey, wait till this thing really gets in sync, what it's going to look like.
I have a couple more likes, but then I want to discuss Caleb's performance with you if I can.
Sure.
I like Brisker's read on his interception. I loved it. I like that the Bears defense is more than opportunistic. They're second in the NFL in takeaways, only trailing the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is a trend that is continuing. Week after week after week, they're forcing turnovers. And it's starting in the secondary. These interceptions, these aren't like gimmies. This is them reading the coverage. This is them setting up the quarterback for failure. This is something clicking in the secondary. And I want to give Al Harris, whatever he's doing as the Bears secondary coach, is working right now with his defensive backs. I thought Montez Sweat was noticeable last night.
Yeah.
Now, is he performing like the high-end pass rusher the Bears need him to be? No. But he had a better game. He was noticeable. So I like his performance. Trying to think what else off the top of my head here, but there's a lot of good storylines here. I like that we noticed Shamar Turner at right defensive end a little bit. I like that some rookies and young players are getting on the field and contributing. I like Luther Burden in the open field. Can we get more of that? Can we? Yeah. Can he get more snaps? How many snaps did Luther Burden have against the? Hold on.
Did you see they looped Dahlman?
Drew Dahlman, great play.
on the pat. He basically popped out, did a 360, came and secured the edge for Caleb to get that pass off to Luther Burden. That was cool.
Luther Burden was only on the field for 15 snaps. I like to see that increase, but it's a good thing when we're highlighting this many players in terms of likes.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if we want to nitpick on some of the dislikes, I'd still like to see more out of Colson Loveland. Get Burden on the field. Did not like, unfortunately, Olamide Zaccheaus had easily his worst game as a Bear last night.
That drop had been taken to the house.
I mean, even if it wasn't and the safety runs him down, just between the Theo Benedict bad penalty call and that drop by OZ, think about what Caleb's numbers would have been. He would have been easily over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, just on those 2 plays alone. So as good as Caleb's numbers ended up being, they should have honestly been even better. Like one of those games where you're going, oh, wow, this was one of the best quarterback performances of the week. So that's kind of unfortunate that didn't happen. I'll go through a rapid fire, a couple more. I also had Turner on my list, but more in terms of just an adjustment. Trying to get this guy going, Shamar Turner. You got to fix the run defense. Try him somewhere else. I like that. Good job, Dennis Allen. Bringing up Jonathan Ford. These guys aren't getting it done. Get this guy in. Grady Jarrett's out. I get that was a big part of it. But they get him involved. They moved Dexter. Jerron Dexter kind of went back to more 3 technique than he has been playing. And he had a sack and a half last night, and I thought was better. Andrew Billings on the field more. Was a big reason why they were stopping the run. So all those little tiny adjustments from a defense, I thought paid off big. Liked all of that. And then also going back to the Bears, their own running game, I thought the wide receivers blocked better. I thought they came out of the bye and had a much better blocking performance, and I think that contributed to the success in the running game too. And then I got one more dislike that is going to turn into a like that I'm not sure people picked up on. I did not like after Matt Gay missed that field goal in what was a very loud doink. I don't know if you rank doinks, but that was among the loudest doinks I've heard. I mean, he nailed that thing straight on. I didn't like that the Bears weren't able to take advantage of that. And it was not a great possession in that situation. And it ended with a sack that I've already heard some people criticizing Caleb Williams for this morning. And at first glance, I get it, because he rolled to his left and he could have thrown the ball away. And he instead took a hit going out of bounds and actually wanted, he was asking the ref for a flag, and it was kind of a big hit and it didn't look great. I get all that. Johns, I think he was instructed not to throw the ball incomplete because they wanted to keep the clock running in that situation. They forced Washington. Washington had 2 timeouts left. They had to burn one of those timeouts. And where they were on the field, Torrey Taylor's able to pin them back on the punt, which I also liked. It was a good punt from Torrey. And now Washington gets no chance at more points. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit here, but based on what I've seen from this coaching staff and some of the details they pay attention to, I think he was instructed that in that moment, it's better to slide, which, okay, you want to argue that then slide, which he ended up doing at the end of the game, which was great. But I don't think that was an example of him just refusing to throw the ball away and instead taking a hit just because it was a bad decision. I think that they were trying to force Washington to burn a timeout there if they weren't going to get the first down themselves.
It seems like we have a follow-up for Ben Johnson's Zoom call later today. I don't like receiving a text from the Chicago Bears. They have DJ Moore asked to stay overnight for observation. I saw him in the locker room. I believe he left with paramedics, and I believe he left via ambulance, which is not a good thing by any means. Hopefully it's just precautionary, but we should have more information much later this afternoon. Ben Johnson is scheduled to speak to the media at 4 p.m. Chicago time.
Yeah. All right, we do have to take one more timeout.
Then let's talk about Caleb when we get back.
Yeah, we'll talk about Caleb, and we'll get to your voicemails as well. So all that coming up. Do not go anywhere. Hit that like button. Please subscribe. But first,
is it me or you? Which one we doing?
Go ahead with Mando, Johnsy.
You want Mando? Hold on one second, my friend.
Unless you want me to just go.
Fall is here. Now I got it. Fall is here. Crisp air, football, maybe a bonfire or two. For you're in the East Coast, you got a nor'easter to deal with. But if you're like most guys, you're still putting in the hard work. And yes, that means sweat. Don't let body odor sideline you. You know that feeling. It's game day and you've been working hard all week. Your lucky jersey might be smelling a little too lucky. Let's be honest. Regular deodorant just doesn't cut it after a long day. But there's a real game changer here. Mando deodorant plus sweat control. This isn't just another cover-up. Mando is one stick, 2 jobs, powerful odor and sweat control. It actually stops odor before it even starts. No more masking, just freshness. One swipe and you're good to go. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. It's like covering a football game. You could really use this stuff. Just after 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash or deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness.
And I believe this is the first time we're telling you about Monarch Money on this show here on Hoge Jahns, but I'm a big fan of Monarch. I use Monarch. Check it out. It is the best way to feel organized and confident in your finances. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or your phone. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year. Every account you have, you can input it in here. It's going to keep track of it all on a daily basis. You can budget everything. You can create your own categories, whatever you spend your money on that you want, even your golf finances can be categorized in there. You can keep track of everything. It was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. And I can tell you that I got it right here on my phone and use it on my computer. It's excellent. It's super helpful. Do not let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code CHGO. One last thing I just want to make sure we don't forget about, Johns, because I was still laughing about it this morning when I was rewatching. I'm not sure a coach has ever been paid off more for a dumber challenge than Dan Quinn was last night. Like, I get it. It was obviously incomplete, but it wasn't obvious to the point that, like, I would totally trust the officials to overturn it. You know what I mean? And the risk versus reward on that, you're getting 1 yard in the first half. Now, they've changed the rules a little bit. So as long as you get it right, you don't lose a challenge. You don't lose a timeout. You get an extra challenge. That's changed over the years. So I get it. And it was probably going to be overturned. But how many times do we see plays like this, whatever sport we're watching, where they're like, no, it's not overturned. There's not enough evidence, whatever. And so it's still just the logic of it, even though it was a correct challenge. To me, I was just like, what are you doing? And then the crazy thing is,
this is the
it ends up being 4th and 1, and the Bears don't get it.
Sure. That's why you challenge for the yard.
Is it really, though, or was that just complete luck coincidence? Because, come on.
But you know, coach, you know how coaches are. That's all they needed for the justification of their decision to challenge.
He's probably sitting there going, greatest challenge of my life.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, every hey, you got a shirt that says every yard matters, Adam Hoge.
I know. I was actually thinking about that as I was watching it this morning. I was like, that's a little hypocritical for me to. Well, I need a follow-up shirt. Every yard matters unless you're challenging a play over 1 yard in the middle of the field on first down. Can we make that a shirt?
Well, that shirt doesn't make any sense.
I think it makes sense. Anyway, I just want to sneak that in there. Let's talk about Caleb. What you think?
Like, I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was awful. I didn't think he was outstanding. I think if the Roma Dunze touchdown, like if that stands, I think our conversation maybe is a bit different today. If Olamide Zaccheaus catches that ball and goes 70 yards, even if he gets caught, I think we're having a different conversation today. But like, I'm bringing those into the conversation to tell you that I kind of liked his performance. Was it great? No. Did he struggle in moments? Yes. Do I like that part of the outside conversation is that Drake May is playing potentially the best out of quarterbacks in his draft class right now? Like, no, if you're the Bears, you don't want that to happen right now. But Caleb Williams played well enough to win on the road in Washington on a soggy, windy night. I take the performance. Do you want a little bit better? Yes. But I think he played well enough to win.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't really, I mean, I think you can quibble with some of the accuracy at times on some of the throws, but, you know, part of this is I'm not sure we always know how to judge what, like, even the good quarterback play is supposed to, like, his passer rating was 98 last night. He's on the road in a rough environment, made more than enough plays to win. Josh Allen lost last night. He had one of his worst games of the season. He's lost back-to-back games. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. Okay, like it doesn't really matter who you are. You're not going to have perfect performances in this league. The other team's too good, and that Commanders defense is pretty good. So I don't have much to quibble with Caleb Williams this morning. I think the guy's a gamer. I like the intensity he showed. I didn't have a problem with his body language last night. I know that it continues to be an ongoing storyline for whatever reason. I like the fact he cares so much. I think it's obvious pregame, in-game, and after the game that this dude cares about winning. And everyone that's been around this guy, for whatever his faults might be, tells you that all the time. So I think the Bears have their quarterback. I think once you see some of this other stuff get cleaned up, and it's probably never going to be cleaned up perfectly, But as this guy continues to log reps and experience and continues to make better decisions, and the strides this dude has made in 5 games. Seriously, think about it. Let's call training camp what it was. It wasn't that great. It was a mess at times. It was some of the worst practices I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that. Like, there were some really, really bad practices. And you look at the growth that he has shown you now through 5 games into this season. And yes, it's going to continue to be a little bit up and down like last night was at times. But when you zoom out and think about what that growth can be in another 5 games, and another 5 games after that, and another season after that, like, to me right now, as somebody that championed them drafting him number 1 overall, was totally on the hype train, I'm not selling my Caleb stock. In fact, if you got something to sell, I'll buy it. Give it to me right now. I'm ready to buy it because he is showing real growth, and there's still a lot of room of improvement yet to come.
I can tell you that his 98.6 passer rating is well below the season average. Not well below, but it is below the season average that the Washington Commanders were allowing heading into this game. But that said, the Dunze touchdown changes that mark. That Zacchaeus drop changes that mark. And sometimes it just comes down to ball security. Jaden Daniels threw an interception. Jaden Daniels fumbled the ball. Caleb Williams, we could talk about the sacks, and I know we have a little bit, but he didn't have any turnovers. He didn't give the ball up. And sometimes winning that turnover battle as the quarterback can be the most important thing to keep a game close when things aren't going your way. So I want to give him credit for winning that against Jaden Daniels on Monday night.
Sometimes we overthink this. Johns, when Caleb Williams has the ball in his hands, do you feel comfortable?
Yes.
When Caleb Williams has the ball in his hands,
I feel actually more comfortable like later in the game than I do earlier in the game. Like if I had to rate my nervousness, it's like second to third quarter, I'm nervous about Caleb. But fourth quarter, I'm confident in what he can do.
See, and I never really find myself nervous when the Bears are on offense. But especially when he's got the ball late in the game, like as soon as that ball is fumbled by Jaden Daniels, I'm like, Caleb's going to get him in position. I'm just worried about the kick at this point. I'm worried about the kicking game. Now, it turned out they ended up running the ball down there more than him having to put it on his arm. But we know he could do that. He does it all the time. So just put that into perspective with how many Bears games you have watched over the years where you don't trust a quarterback at all. Some games, and this is not hyperbole, where you almost wish they were on defense to score. I mean, we've covered those games.
If you want to go back to, we could go way back to when we first started covering this team. That's how you felt. You wanted Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs out there to score and just to stay on the field.
Right. So we're a long ways away from that. And, I don't even need to go there. But anybody who watched that game in London on Sunday morning, I'll just say that. All right, let's get to your voicemails. Can't wait to hear these. Katie said they're great. Appreciate you. A lot of people have asked about the voicemail line. Write it down. Save it. It's 224-725-3046. It's on your screen if you're watching it on YouTube. We have the voicemail line open for every single game. We got regulars that call in. We appreciate them very much, very, very much. Again, 224-725-3046. These should be fun. Your voicemails from the Bears' dramatic win over the Washington Commanders.
Hello?
Do you know who this is?
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
The Hoge Jahns voicemail. The Hoge Jahns voicemail line.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep.
Got any questions or comments about the Bears? Give the guys a call before, after, or even during the game.
Go Bears!
Hoge Jahns and said Bob Dabrowski here live in Washington, D.C. The Bears are out to a commanding 3-0 lead over the Commanders. Jaden Daniels just threw a pick in the end zone like a and Caleb Williams is coming back down the field. You know what? I know you kids love your numbers these days, so I got two for you, a couple numbers here, 1 and 2. 1 is better than 2. Always will be, always has been, always will be in the entire future. That's why Caleb Williams is better than Jaden Daniels. He's a bum. He sucks. Let's go Bears. Caleb Williams shows why he was the number 1, not 2 pick in the NFL draft. Let's go Chicago Bears. Bear down.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm superstitious, but after the Hail Mary last year, that doink before halftime, that feels like a passing of the curse. Are we finally free and clear? Bear down, baby.
Hi, boys. It's the Mama Bear, and I'm usually not one to whine, but man, it seems like we're playing against 3 teams out there. Playing against the Commanders, playing against the refs, and playing against ourselves. And what in the Zach Pickens was that? Let's quit making mistakes and start capitalizing on theirs. Bear down.
Hey, Hoge Jahns. I normally don't like to be this guy, but I do not know what is up with these refs tonight. It just seems terrible, and Troy Aikman must hate Caleb Williams because I haven't seen him do anything positive on it. It's bad.
I need a congressional hearing on what these referees were doing before the game. This is absolutely insane.
Am I crazy, or does Jaden Daniels get slurped by the media like he's the second coming, but he doesn't do anything impressive?
Hey, Bears fans, B-Man here. The fourth quarter is where good teams win games. Let's go get this win. Bear down!
Wisconsin Bears fan here. That's 3 wins in a row, baby. Winning streak. Hopefully they can make him not so nerve-wracking from now on, but that's how you do it. Down to the wire. Let's go. 3-win winning streak. Bears, baby.
Hey, all right. That was fun, but next time, have we tried just like kicking someone's ass? Can we try that next time?
Hey, Bears fans, B-Man here. What did I say earlier? Good teams win in the fourth quarter. Bear down!
This is Andy Brophy in Atlanta. For once, the Bears are the ones coming back in the fourth quarter. Bear down. Let's roll.
This is the most pumped I have ever been in a while after a Bears win. They overcame the rain. They overcame the almighty Jaden Daniels himself. They overcame the refs. They overcame drops, miscues, illegal formations. What is this feeling?
Hey, Hoge Jahns, this is Sean in Arizona, and I just want to say revenge is a dish best served cold.
Oh, appreciate your voicemails. Those were fun. Always good to hear a happy B-man. He called it in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm talking about. You feel good. All of a sudden, you feel good about this team pulling games out in the fourth and not giving them away. That's very, very important, of course. We need to get to our super chats and let Johnsy get to the airport so we can fly on back home to Chicago. We got Bear With Me, $5, says, I need more than 150 characters to express my joy for last night's win. What resiliency this team has. This is not your old Bears. Also, Carm is what a cliffhanger. A lot of different ways you could go there.
Fill in the blank.
What a fun game that was. Just Carm is blank. A lot of people in the comments, I'm sure, will finish that sentence. Go for Papa Palpatine, $5. Living in D.C. for the last year has been miserable. Last night was cathartic. Good for you. Come on home. Jason and Michelle, $5. Loving the W, but I'm still not feeling great about Caleb Williams. He's getting outperformed by his draft peers. He is 32nd in errant throws. What am I missing?
Time. Just give it time. Give it time. Like we just talked about. It wasn't perfect. It's never going to be, but it wasn't awful. And he won the turnover battle. And he made enough plays. He did. Let's not forget about his own rushing touchdown early in the game. So give Caleb some credit for his performance on the road on Monday Night Football in less than ideal conditions.
Absolutely. And then AR4B Ace. Never know quite how to read that one. $5. If your starters for next year are Theo and Darnell, what the F do you do with Ozzy? Well, we'll figure that out in March.
Like these are the things that coaches usually describe as good problems to have. They do. Like if that's the situation next year to open up training camp and Ben Johnson has asked about it, I would not be surprised if he described that situation as exactly like that.
Well, right. And you got to have the context too. When they drafted Ozzy, I don't even think they thought they'd be living in a world where it's week 6 and Theo Benedict looks really good playing left tackle.
And that's the other part of this conversation. Like if Theo Benedict has earned this and he's playing well, then that's a good thing, everybody.
Right.
That's a great thing.
And if you want to quibble and be like, well, it's their job to know that, that's different, man. This guy came on in training camp this year. There was very little tape on him last year. He was hurt. This is a rare situation where, if they thought that highly of Theo Benedict, they would have drafted him. He wouldn't have been an undrafted free agent. This is just one of those things that just worked. Yeah. It just worked out.
Yes.
Yeah. So
let it play out.
Samuel Gulloy, $10. I know Dennis Allen deserves a lot of credit, but I don't think people talk enough about Al Harris. Wherever he goes, turnovers follow. He's going to be a defensive coordinator in the league soon.
Yeah, I gave Al Harris some credit earlier in the show, and we'll do it again. Whatever is working in the secondary, like it starts with him. It's getting to Tyreek Stevenson. Like I like that Tyreek Stevenson wasn't even a story last night. Like that is good. That is great news leaving this area.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the offseason, but it is true that the last 3 years that he had that gig in Dallas, his defensive backs led the league in interceptions over that period of time. And now you're seeing. Now, if there's one good thing that's kind of a concern is having a 10-to-1 turnover ratio of your last 3 games. That's not going to be sustainable. Just not. So you have to tighten up some of the other mistakes that were made because you're not going to be able to pull out every game 25-24 plus 3 in the turnover margin.
Yes, and they did have one botch coverage where it was straight, like they jumped a grade school play.
Yeah, that was
the
bad.
wide receiver screen, and they got over eager on it. I don't know if it's on Wright or Kyler Gordon, but that's one that needs to be corrected, and it's like an easy correction. But the Bears secondary is playing very well right now, despite missing their best player. I think that needs to be restated, over and over and over again until Jalen Johnson returns.
2 more supers before we get out of here. Pedro Ochoa, $5. Ball don't lie. That 3rd and 1 fumble was cosmic justice for the way the refs called the game. And,
cosmic justice. I like that.
Yeah. And Oreo, $2. Montez Sweat finally showed up.
He did.
Yeah. I thought he was.
He did well.
Still want him to get home. And I can even excuse him for the roughing the passer call. He went up to try to block the pass. Hands come down. You hit him. It's just one of those where the rule is what it is. Sometimes you're going to have incidental contact, and it's still foul.
Yeah.
You're protecting the quarterbacks. Whatever. You live with it. I'd rather have him rush hard and get to the quarterback. I do think he was better. I agree. We'll see if he can continue that momentum. Well, we got to let you get to the airport.
I got to run. I got a flight to catch.
Quick turnaround. Short week. Saints. We're not a great team. Come to Soldier Field on Sunday. An opportunity to get to 4-2 this week. We will have our insider analysis column for you tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be working on that on the way home. I'll be working on it too. So for diehards, you can get that in the morning. You can also get Johnson's post-game column right now. And 1,000% relevant. Great timing on dropping the Theo Benedict story when you did going into the weekend. Nailed that one.
Nailed it.
An amazing story on Theo Benedict, the background, and how they're literally rethinking development of football players in Canada because of Theo Benedict. And he eats worms, apparently. So there's a little teaser for you. Now's the time to become a diehard because yesterday CHGO hit 90,000 on the YouTube channel, which is awesome. And to celebrate, we have our lowest price ever on becoming a diehard. $27. Just $27 gets you diehard access for a full year right now. It's the lowest price we've ever had. All of our content, like our insider analysis column coming out tomorrow, plus 20% off all merch, 20% off all events all the time. You get that.
And we got some sweet Hoge Jahns gear coming out very soon.
Yes, that's a good point.
We've seen it. Yeah,
we saw the renderings last week, so those will be dropping soon too. And again, when you're a diehard, you always get 20% off. Now, if you're already a diehard and you're like, well, hey, I'm already a diehard, what do I get? Well, through the end of today, and it's Tuesday right now, there's a 24-hour flash sale to celebrate us getting the 90K on CHGO. 50% off all CHGO merch. You log into your diehard account. There's supposed to be like a promo code that pops up. You use that, you get 50% off. So it's a great day to celebrate a Bears victory. Load up on your CHGO merch. We appreciate it. And that includes all the Hoge Jahns stuff too. We are out of here.
Candace in the comments. You'll like the new stuff, Candace.
Oh, yeah. It's coming. It's coming. We're back tomorrow. Turn this thing around. Right back. We'll have more coverage on what happened in Washington. We'll have a surprise guest, I believe. So stay tuned because we're right back at it tomorrow. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. If you're listening the OG way as a podcast, please rate and review. We always appreciate each and every one of you that supports this show. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
See ya.